Alright, what's up guys, this is Nathan from BraixZard Control, and today I'm going to be profiling the deck that I got 90 points with. First place at a cup and second place at a different cup with, and that's Braixen Charizard Control. It's really good because searching 3 every time you attack is not a bad effect. So first up we got 4 copies of Braixen Charizard, the main point of the deck, one of the only Pokemon in the deck, there's one other, and then Brilliant Flare, 4 energy, 180, search your deck for up to 3 cards, put them in your hand. It's broken. You search 3 every turn, you always have what you need. And the GX isn't bad either, because it attaches 5 energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. And then if you have the extra energy, they're burned and confused. That did come up in one of the cups in the finals. So anyway, broken card. It's just stupid. You get to search 3 every time. And the only other Pokemon we play, if you start this, you can't play greens, which sucks. So I've been testing out Lugia GX, but I wanted to do it. I want to do the profile with the one that I won both cups with, or did well at both cups with, and that's the Heatran. So it has Burning Roads, so you can just put it down whenever you want. And this is only in there. I would just play the quad, but Latios GX is a thing, so I need to way to get around that. And then Hot Burn, 50 damage times the amount of energy attached to it. Normally you're not going to use this. It seems good in theory, but you're taking all the energy off this. And if you use this, it means you haven't used Crimson Flame Pillar, which means you probably don't have very many energy, because the only way you've been accelerating it is with Welder. So you're most often not going to use this. It does come up sometimes, but it's mostly just 130 to get around the Latios. And then the only other Pokemon we'll play is the Omastar with the Fossil Bind. And as long as you have less Pokemon in play, your opponent can't play items. This is the way to beat Dolls. This is the way to beat Pidgey. And it's just all around good if you can get it out. If you find a convenient time to get it out. And remember, you can't play greens while you have it, so that sucks. And then next card, we got 4 Great Potion. Great Potion is just heal 50. The main goal of the deck is to just heal off all your damage and keep hitting 180 until they die. Search in 3, healing it off, controlling your opponent, and just keep slapping them until they die. So Great Potion definitely very much helps with that. And we have some 3 Pokegear for consistency. In the late game, you can just discard it with stuff like Malolana, Cynthia Caitlyn, other tag team supporters, maybe even Fiery Flint, if you don't need it. So they're not that much of a brick. Bricks don't matter in this deck, but it is good for the consistency boost when you really need it. Next up, we have 3 copies of Reset Stamp. This is mostly there for just general good disruption, and 2 scenarios. If you're playing ADP and they take 4 prizes off one of these instead of 2, it goes down to 2, and 2 is a lot better than 3. Or if they take this out, or if you force them to take a Heatran out, you can, what can happen is you can hit them to 1 with this if they've knocked out a Heatran and a BraixZard, so it's really good. But I just played 3 because I like the number. It's a control deck, so you want to play large counts of stuff. Next 3 of Great Catcher. 3 of them did come up. Since you're only hitting for 180 every turn, your opponent can just keep switching into different tag teams, and you need a way to knock out those pesky benched ones so that they can't set up and win the game or run you out of healing or something, or get that good stamp play on you. Next 3 of, I think final 3 of, yeah. Final 3 of item anyway. Fiery Flint, discard 2, search for 4 fire. Really good in the early game. You can discard it with stuff in the late game. You really need this to set up, to be honest. You need one of those to set up. 2 Fossil. I decided to play 2 because you can switch into it and then discard yourself with Mao and Lana. I would only play 1 if that wasn't the case. But it was good for that pivot option, and evolving into Omastar, of course. And then we have the 1 rare candy to evolve into Omastar too. Just 1 rare candy because I only wanted to play 1. I played a 2-2-2 line, but it didn't work out. 2 tag call, search deck for up to 2 tag teams. I wanted to play 3, but To be honest, it was going to be bricky in the late game. I didn't feel like I needed more than 2. Just searches this out, searches all your tag team supporters, and you can search it off greens. So most of the cards that you'll see, and you're like, why is he playing such a low count? Because he can search it off greens. And then I wanted to play the 5th and 6th copy of Great Potion, and this is that. So it's just a 5th and 6th copy of Great Potion, but you have to play both of them at the same time. It also heals the special conditions, which could be useful sometimes, I guess. One choice helmet, because you don't want to die to stuff. You don't want to get one shot by stuff, and you don't want to have to heal off 30 more damage. One switch, because again, we do play this card, and it's a good pivot option to have. I did consider playing 2, because I missed the second one sometimes, but I didn't decide to. I've never wanted to play 2. Fire Crystal, 3, or just 1 Fire Crystal, because sometimes you need energy recovery, sometimes you don't, but sometimes you do, and this is there for that. And then the best card in the deck, 4 greens. The worst part about it is that if you start this, you can't play it, and if you bench this, you can't play it. But search 2 trainers. I don't know how you can deny that. Even though it may be a brick sometimes, complete brick sometimes, search 2 trainers. Busted. So then usually a lot of the times for my setup, I either start this, and then either start that, and then either one of this, or welder, and then I can greens for the other 2, and the next turn fire flint, attach 1, and the next turn welder, attach 2. So that's one of the main combos in the deck. That's your setup a lot of the time, and then the other times that it's not that time, it's Crimson Flame Pillar being broken. And then to follow that up, we got 3 copies of Welder. I was playing 4. It bricked in the late game. You can search it. 3 is fine. I even considered cutting down to 2, but I didn't really want to. 2 Cynthia Caitlyn, just because you need the supporter. Recharge sometimes, and draw 3, not bad effect. I did consider cutting down to 1, but I never ended up doing it. 2 Malolana, heal card. Such a good heal card. Heal 120, just by discarding 2. The discards are a bit of a problem, but not that much of one. So, heal 120 and switch. The switch is actually a bad thing, but heal 120. It says heal. You play it. Guzma and Hala, because sometimes a Keldeo ADP player will try to stamp you so that you don't hit the weakness guard energy, and this is a way to search it outside of just Brilliant Flaring for it. And we also play a Stadium of Special Energy and a Tool, so you can just search all of those. We actually play 3 different stadiums. 1 Lucamine, because if you're against Keldeo ADP, you need to get your power plants back, and this is the only card to do so, I think. Don't quote me on that, but this is the best card to do so. And then follow it up, obviously, 2 power plants, because, as you can see, GX ability is not a thing. We have 1, and that's it. And power plant's still good, because if you start this, you can power plant, and then you can play greens. And then Lysander Labs, because Malamar's a problem. Heat Factory, because consistency, and also get energy in the discard for Crimson Flame Brother. And then energy, we have 10 fire, and 1 weakness card. You should be playing 2 of this. I only had 1. I couldn't find any more, but you should be playing 2 weakness cards. So, final thoughts on this deck. It is a powerhouse of a deck. It just does the same thing with some healing, controlling your opponent, and it doesn't really have super polarizing losing matchups. I guess it was like pure water, you'd probably lose because you'd lose the one with the weakness card, but you should play 2. So there's no really polarizing matchups for this deck, and you pretty much have a fair chance against everything. And I think the biggest problem with this deck is that you get hit hard by Stamp, and the biggest thing your opponents can do against it is stamp you at the right time. So just try to play against incompetent opponents who will stamp you to 6 cards instead of 3. Final thoughts. But busted deck, don't get stamped. Don't put yourself in a position where Stamp will kill you. I did that at one of the League Cup finals, and I did that at the League Cup final that I won, and my opponent missed some stamps, so I would have lost it if my opponent hit a stamp. Anyway, that's it. Anyways, this is Nathan from Break Even TCG, signing out.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like the video, leave a comment of what you want to see next, and subscribe. T here from the Break Even TCG channel, signing out.